Welcome to St Albans in Hertfordshire, or Verulamium as it was once known. You can see the Roman style building behind me, which is the Verulamium Museum. In there I'm going to go and see a mosaic of a mystery god. The horned deity in question has been suggested to be possibly Oceanus or Neptune, or even, intriguingly, Cernunnos. Verulamium Museum holds many intriguing objects found in the local area of St Albans, which has a rich Roman, Romano-British and pre-Roman Celtic history. These include day-to-day objects, ritual items, coins, tools, pottery, and even skeletons discovered over the years of archaeological digs in and around the local area. The museum also has a series of beautiful mosaics, mostly discovered just a stone's or a tesseray's throw from where they are currently on display. These feature intricate designs, patterns and symbols loaded with highly charged ritual and religious meaning. For a site that lies more than 50 miles from the nearest coast, there are a surprising number of instances of nautical imagery, from dolphins to wave patterns. One of these that was a recurring feature in this part of the Roman Empire was the scallop. And it is in this symbol we come to understand the nautical theme as not being based on the physical sea that surrounds Britain, but something deeply spiritual and embedded in the Roman mind. The scallop was an extremely important symbol to Romans. The shells symbolised the journey across the seas to the Blessed Isles, the land of life after death. Elsewhere in the museum, a lead coffin complete with skeleton also features the symbol several times. The scallop was commonly linked with the creation myth of the goddess Venus, who it was believed was born fully grown from the sea, arising from a scallop shell. The 15th century artist Sandro Botticelli portrayed this in his Birth of Venus in 1486. And so, with this oceanic theme seemingly omnipresent, it was unsurprising that this mosaic was and is referred to as a sea god. But this mosaic, unlike the others, does not feature nautical imagery, aside perhaps for a wave pattern at the bottom. Although this is far less obvious than on other examples, and could be seen as a variation of the swastika-like sunwheel patterns seen in conjunction with the meandering lines above it. Most of the mosaics in the museum were excavated in the 1930s by Sir Mortimer Wheeler and his wife Tessa. Some other notable finds were made in excavations led by Shepherd Frere from 1955 to 1961. Frere's excavations expanded on the understanding of Roman urban life in Britain, emphasising the artistic and architectural sophistication of Verulamium. But, to cut a long story short, who is the horned god? Well, given the watery theme, it is no surprise that two gods associated with the sea have been suggested. These are Neptune and Oceanus. Neptune, a derivation of the Greek god Poseidon, was god of the sea. He was revered and worshipped for naval victories, and is commonly depicted in Roman iconography, more so than Oceanus. Neptune is usually portrayed carrying a trident, which is not present in the mosaic. Poseidon, from whom Neptune is derived, was also the god of horses. This is possibly a hangover from the Indo-European root of Greek culture in the steppe, where the horses of the Bronze Age pastoralists could be seen as crashing waves across the vast grasslands. Horse sacrifice was also a potent kingly ritual to the Proto-Indo-Europeans, symbolising the sun, which in reconstructed mythology was pulled across the sky by a horse. Oceanus was the god of the oceans, who was originally a titan in Greek mythology. The Romans knew only the Atlantic Ocean, which was overseen by Oceanus, and the Mediterranean Sea, which was ruled by Poseidon/Neptune. Romans may have believed worshipping Oceanus would aid seafarers across the uncharted ocean and reveal its bounty. Full-body images of Oceanus usually show a muscular bearded man with horns, which are usually crab or lobster claws, or segmented crustacean legs, and a lower torso of a serpent or fish. The mosaic has the horns, but are they crustacean claws or legs, or do they look more like deer antlers? This brings us to the third main candidate for the horned figure, Cernunnos. Cernunnos is a prominent figure in Celtic mythology, and is often referred to as the horned god. He is a deity associated with nature, fertility, animals, wealth, and the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Representations of Cernunnos date back to ancient Celtic and Gaulish cultures, though his exact role and worship practices remain mysterious due to limited historical records. If this is a Romano-British representation of Cernunnos, it would be one of a vanishingly small number of such works. Finally, another suggestion for the god figure is the Roman spirit of the woodland, Silvanus. But ultimately, we don't know who the god is. All we have are speculations based on what we know from the area and its traditions from the archaeological record. So the mosaics were actually found, most of them, a short distance from the museum in what's now called Verulamium Park. So I'm going to go now to another mosaic which is still in situ, but is very close to where those mosaics were actually found. So I'm walking up the hill now, approaching a fairly brutalist building which houses one of the remaining mosaics. So not only is this one of the last remaining in situ mosaic that's been discovered so far, this is also the top of a hypercaust underfloor heating system, which you can see the workings of to some degree, just over my shoulder there, and underneath this platform that they've built to house it in this building. The vastly impressive Verulamium was once the third largest city in Roman Britain. Some fragments of its walls, theatre, homes and other remains are still visible, but sadly these relics of a bygone civilization made for the perfect building materials for the Anglo-Saxons, especially in constructing religious buildings. And a prime candidate for this reuse of Roman bricks stands overlooking the former settlement, dominating the skyline. St Albans Abbey contains thousands of obvious pieces of Roman building materials in its ancient walls. One can't help but wonder what the horned god and his adherents might have made of that. So that was the mystery horned god of Verulamium, now known as St Albans. Who do you think the god was? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and most importantly subscribe. And if you're able to, you can support the channel on Subscribestar or via YouTube super thanks. Most appreciated if you do. If not, just clicking and liking and sharing and commenting is also most appreciated and really helps the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.